So hey guys, welcome to another video, and today I want to talk about bosses. Those big bad guys that give us many loots. And I want to talk about design, complexity, and how good bosses are. And if complexity actually makes good boss fights, or if it's just a handful of good mechanics that make a good boss fight. And the first boss I want to talk about is Operator Thogar on Mythic. Because even though this boss looks ridiculous when you're watching it on a video and you've never done it, when you actually learn the boss, you realize there is only a handful of mechanics there. All you have to do is learn the train schedule, learn where to put grenades so people don't have to run over them, and you have to kill ads. Some ads have higher priority, some ads have lower priority, and your tanks have to switch because of Enkindle. That's it. That's the entire boss. And it is so very good once you learn it. And when you do learn it, next time you come there, you're gonna kill it. Because you know what you're supposed to do, and that fight is all about execution. And it is fantastic. It's one of the best bosses I had the pleasure to defeat in World of Warcraft. And I dare to say the reason why that fight is so good and why I like it so much is because it only has a handful of good mechanics instead of having 30 mediocre ones or 30 bad ones. So which fight, in my opinion, has too many mechanics? Well, Paragons of the Galaxy in Siege of Orgrimmar. I hated that fight. It was super duper complex, and as a hardcore raider you would think, oh, you love that shit, don't you? No, I hated that fight. Just reading the dungeon journal, it's so long. If you decide to read the Paragons of the Galaxy dungeon journal, you better cancel all your plans for the evening and make a snack. And when you're fighting them, you're like, okay, so we have 10 dudes. Each one of the dudes has like 3 or 4 abilities. So we have this dude, and this dude. So this dude does this, and this. This dude does this, and we have this dude. Oh shit, we have this dude. So I have to be careful about this, and this, and I have to move away from that. And I was like, I'm not really having fun. Can we go to Garrosh, please? Thank you very much. The best fights, in my opinion, are the most memorable ones. Alright? Not the most complex ones. Just look at Arthas in Wrath of the Lich King. Arthas is one of the most memorable fights in the entire game, and it is regarded by many as the best fight as well. Yet, when you think about it, you have sort of 2 or 3 things to deal with in each phase. Nothing more, nothing less. And it was enough. It was perfect. Another type of boss fight that I really like is the type of boss fight where you have abilities and those abilities synergize together. They work together somehow. For instance, the new Fell Lord Zakuun in the Hellfire Citadel that we've got in 6.2. I think that fight is well good. Because once again, it only has a handful of mechanics and abilities, right? You have to soak the pillars, from which you get a debuff, and there are 2 more debuffs. One of them has to be healed up and does some AoE, so you can't be stacked up with the raid, so you have to move, and the other one sends out waves, and if those waves hit people with the debuff from soaking the pillar, they pretty much one-shot them, and if the waves hit the pillar, it does AoE damage to the entire raid. So if you have the debuff, run away from the waves. If you don't have the debuff, soak the waves that are heading towards your raid members with the debuff or towards the pillars. Boom! That's the boss fight. Handful of mechanics, they work together, fantastic boss fight. I love that one. And I think it all comes down to fun. Is that boss fun? Because you can have 2 bosses, right? Boss A and Boss B, they both have 3 mechanics, yet Boss A is fun and Boss B isn't fun. Even though you're dealing with the same amount of mechanics, the exact same amount. Sometimes Boss A will be fun and Boss B won't be fun. And of course that comes down to personal preference, but there is always maybe a boss or 2 where you're going to that room and everyone in the raid's like, oh, not this guy again, please, can we fight another boss? Can we go somewhere else? This guy, he has cool mechanics, it's just not fun. The way the boss fight plays, the way it works, is just not fun. And I tend to find that the more mechanics they pile on top of each other, whether it is good mechanics or bad mechanics or just clunky mechanics or mechanics that don't make sense, the more of them they pile on top of each other, the harder it is, at least for me, to enjoy that fight and to have fun with the fight. Just look at Butcher. Butcher was kind of fun, right? Even though I was just standing in one place and I was doing my job. I was healing the raid because I was resto. I kind of had fun on that fight, even though it was very simplistic. And when I contrasted to Imperator Margok, I didn't have fun with that fight for a very long time. Because there was so much stuff going on. I was playing the fight correctly. But there was so much stuff. Okay, move here, then this has a debuff, you have to move here, then there's that. Even though it's not that complicated, it was harder for me to enjoy it and to have fun with it. And now let's talk about one thing that I hate probably more than anything in boss fights. And that's over-reliance on personal responsibility with mechanics. And before people start shouting, because every time someone mentions this, it's a shitstorm. Listen to me, all right? Hear me out. When you have a raid of 20 people, and 15 of those people are doing everything perfectly, and you have 5 guys that have to do something overly specific at an overly specific time, and one of them fucks it up, the entire room should not explode, and everyone should not die. That is bullshit. That is utter bullshit. That guy should die. The entire room should not explode. Archimon should not come down upon you and teabag you with his demonic buttocks. That's bullshit. And every time there is a boss fight where one person has to do something perfectly, and he screws it up, and the entire room explodes, and everyone in that room dies, even though they were doing everything perfectly, I hate that boss fight a little bit more. If it's a raid thing where you have to move over there, you have to pop cooldowns over here, healers have to heal over there, then you have to kill these ads, that is fine. But when Johnny Shitface is supposed to run over there, somersault over a demolisher, and then climb into Archimon's butt crack to pick up that one hair that's irritating him and making him enraged, and he fails to find that one butt crack hair that's making him enraged, and we all die because of that, that I call bullshit. But anyway, that got really weird really fast. In my opinion, simple boss fights with a handful of really good mechanics that you can enjoy and have fun with, for me, are way better than overly complex boss fights that are just, okay, you have to do this, and you have to have fucking nodes scattered around your monitor. And I'm not saying I want easy fights. Alright? Complexity does not equal difficulty in any way, shape, or form. Simplistic boss fights can be as difficult and as challenging, if not more challenging, than overly complex fights. I see complexity as sort of an artificial difficulty. And I prefer, the good old, it's a big dragon. He breathes fire and swipes with his tail. If he hits you with one of those things, he's probably gonna kill you because he hits really hard. And you have a couple of things to deal with. If you don't deal with those things, well, you're gonna die. Do it properly. So what do you find more entertaining, more fun? What do you enjoy more? I'm not talking about difficulty, alright? I'm just talking about the number of mechanics. Fewer good mechanics or more really complex mechanics. And that's it for this video. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.